Welcome back, Sigma Nation, to the first episode of Cigarillos Talk, where basically I'm going to be smoking and talking about many topics. I do not promote smoking, by the way, it's just a part of the character. But, because I already tried to record 4 or 5 types of this same series and I did not release them because every single time the audio was corrupted, I had to wait to buy a perfect adapter so that I can use my in-house microphone. Because I was buying cheap-ass microphones from Temu. So, basically, what's the whole point of this series? It's just going to be me talking in front of the camera, nothing else. So, let's just jump directly into the topic of this first episode of Cigarillos Talk that I'm going to be uploading on YouTube. So, confidence. The thing that I do not like is when some people just tell you to just be confident. Because I do not believe that confidence can be faked. You've probably seen many people who, for example, are not very confident in life, who just do not have, who do not just have that aura in them, if you know what I mean. And basically the people, it's usually in the terms of like dating. For example, when you're like approaching a girl and people just say to just be confident. I do not believe that confidence is something that you can gain very easily. Many times in my own life, I have periods where I literally feel like a god, where, for example, I had like a very good week, and then therefore I'm very confident, and I had weeks and months where I just feel completely depressed, where I'm not confident whatsoever in my own capabilities. So, when someone just says to me to just be confident, there are many strings attached to that. For example, you cannot just be confident, because confidence is just your overall position in life. And usually the people who say to you to just be confident, they're usually telling you that advice out of ignorance or to just shut you off completely. Because they do not want to dive deeper into your own situations. Back then in 2016 and 2017, when I actually do not remember, it was probably 2020 when like this whole self-improvement gig started off on YouTube. And pretty much there are many videos who just tell you to just be confident and just fake confidence. And many times I just see that and I think to myself, is it really that easy? And I tried to fake being confident, but people can see through that. People can very fast see through you being faked confident. Because, as I already said, you cannot fake confidence. Because what really is confidence? Your position in your friend group, your position in society, the amount of resources you have, maybe even your genetics, but many things pull a string towards your confidence. Here's a direct example from me. I started training kickboxing 1 year ago, and over time I have gotten more confident and confident in my kickboxing capabilities. Why? Because I was getting more skillful at it. I was getting better at it. My cardio was improving, and I could land better combinations, and I could finally not win, because you cannot really win in sparring, but I can finally like catch up to much more experienced fighters who literally compete, whilst I'm like a hobbyist kickboxer. I will try to start going to tournaments and like this amateur kickboxing thing, but right now, because I'm not in any sort of tournament, I cannot really call myself a kickboxer because I'm just going to training. You can also see that people are also constantly gatekeeping. For example, you're not a bodybuilder if you do not compete in stage. It's kind of a different topic. I do not want to go through that in this video. I just want to talk about confidence overall. So, I was becoming more confident because I was becoming a more skillful fighter. And I could match up to the opponents in my own kickboxing gym. But for example, if you were to right now put me in like a kickboxing gym where there are fighters who literally compete in pro tournaments, not amateur but pro tournaments, of course I'll feel less confident in my own capability because these people are way more skillful than I am. So the conclusion, your amount of confidence that you right now have is because of your environment. For example, if you enter a room and everybody has like very good jobs and they have a lot of money whilst you are literally scraping to get enough gas for your own car, of course that you will not feel confident because these individuals are just way better than you. So pretty much your confidence relies on other people. So that's the reason why I don't like this advice when people just tell you to just be confident, to just fake confidence, because you cannot really do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, there are going to be a lot of pauses in this video, because I have not really been used to this talking in front of the camera for a very long period of time. I usually have a script. And yeah, I just went off topic. Think, man, think, where were you? Yeah, pretty much your confidence relies on other people. Let's say that you're, for example, average height in the world. In the entire world, by the way, not in America or Europe, just in the entire world. You're, for example, 5'10", 5'8". You enter a region or a country, for example, like Denmark or Croatia or just the Balkans overall, or United States of America, where the average guy is very close to 6 feet. Or that's the thing that is portrayed right there. Because usually, unfortunately, there are many people who look at people who are below the 6 feet range. They do not consider them a man whatsoever. But that's, once again, a topic for a different video. You can understand that if you're like a shorter guy, or like you're a weaker guy, or that you're a less attractive guy, and when you enter a room where like everybody is far more attractive than you, of course you will not feel confident enough to like fully show your own character, because you can literally see the environment that you're in. So there's like a different topic, or a different, let's say, talk towards that. Is your confidence genetic? There are many black pillars, or let's say these individuals who subscribe to the black pill, who say that confidence is very, very much attached to your overall genetics and your overall looks. And I can definitely understand why is that. Let's say that you were like born and like you're 6 years old, and you can literally see that the more attractive kids are performing way better than you in overall every single area of life than you. Of course that you will not feel very confident because the environment treated you badly. I remember when, for example, I remember high school. I was pretty much the shortest guy in my entire high school, in my entire class. And of course I did not feel very confident in myself because I was pretty much weaker than everybody there, and I was pretty much shorter than everybody there. So therefore, of course I did not feel confident. But once I left that environment and I started training and pursuing skills that are much more meaningful than just genetic determining factors, of course I started to feel much more confident, because I kind of surpassed them in all of these areas. So you can literally say that I'm coping by going to the gym and doing that. And there's also a different topic for a different video, because many people who train, there are people who are just tell them that they're coping. Man, I'm just going all over the place. I'm not focused on a particular topic. Unfortunately, that's going to be the entire thing with these episodes. I'm just going to be going off topic and rambling about, just ranting about many things. For example, there are going to be plenty of you individuals who are going to be watching these episodes who do not feel confident in themselves whatsoever. You can also account the factor that you're probably 16 or 20. Of course that you will not feel confident whatsoever in your 20s, because you have literally entered a new form of puberty. There are pretty much two puberties in your life. Puberty number one, where your hormones just explode and you become a horny motherfucker. And puberty number two, when you leave the school era and you just start pursuing like adult careers. Because now you have entered a new environment where pretty much every single guy is just an adult. And you kind of need to adapt and learn how to act as an adult. So, of course that you will not feel confident there whatsoever. Let me give you a few examples. I gave you an example of me training kickboxing and how that gave me confidence. I also started pursuing the gym. I was actually training inside the gym for weightlifting and bodybuilding before the kickboxing era of my own life. And of course that also gave me confidence, because I can do more pull-ups than the average guy. I can bench more than the average guy. I'm way stronger than the average guy. When I take pictures, I look good inside pictures. So of course, I'm better than the average guy, so therefore I feel more confident. I know that there are many people inside the black pill community who will say to you that confidence is pretty much determined genetically. Of course, if you're born shorter than the average guy, or if you're born much more weaker, or just much more genetically fucked up than the average guy, of course that you will not feel confident in yourself whatsoever. But my own personal belief is that if you work on it, you can build up your confidence. So, Where am I going with this? I pretty much do not know. I'm just talking in front of the camera. So let me give a little story. I'm gonna be talking about a person at my workplace. I'm not going to be naming him for the sake of protecting his identity. I just want you to visualize him and to just I'm gonna give him a fake name. I'm going to be calling him Jake. So when I entered in my own workplace, because currently I'm working inside the military, I did not feel confident whatsoever, because when I entered that place, these people have worked much more than me in terms of like time and age, and they are much more experienced than I am. So of course, I'm 20 years old. I enter a workplace where the average guy is 30 years old. Of course, I'm not going to be feeling confident whatsoever, because I do not know where I am. I do not know what am I doing. I do not possess the knowledge that they possess. But over time, once I started to meet people and I started to socialize with those people and I started to talk and be much more open towards those people, of course I started to feel much more confident, because I learned how they talk, so therefore I learned how to talk towards them. But there are some people who just do not know how to interact socially with other people whatsoever. Maybe because they had a bad childhood, maybe because they have past traumatic events, so therefore they're having a way harder time socializing with other people. So here comes that character, here comes that guy, that Jake, in that environment. I feel sorry for that guy, because on average he's shorter than everybody, he's chubby, and he just doesn't know how to talk to other people. I'm not blaming him for that, I'm just saying that it's a tragic thing. And because I'm much more social in the terms of like socializing with people, in the sense of like I ask about their character, I get into their lives a little bit, I'm just much more open to many of the ideas, so therefore I'm kind of like an easier person to talk to. With some people, of course. And because pretty much every single guy was annoyed by him, I was pretty much the only guy that he opened up to. And he basically told me, that guy Jake, is that he didn't have a very good childhood, and that he was, let's say, bullied, and that he had to go to the psychiatrist many times in his high school days. So I kinda understand why he doesn't feel confident in himself whatsoever. He doesn't know anything in terms of like adult jobs, in the sense of like working with tools or just working in that sort of environment. So I kinda understand that. He is physically weaker than the average guy there, and he's just physically much more unattractive than the other people out there. So in that sense, I'm not blaming him whatsoever. It's just pretty much unfortunate. But there are things that he can do to just improve his own life. Try to socialize with other people, try to learn, and just get a grip on life. Of course, I could be talking from the point of ignorance, because I did not experience the life that he experienced. So therefore, once I try and give advice to him, I could be coming from the point of ignorance. Because this topic of just confidence and faking confidence, when some people who just tell you to be much more confident, they're also coming from the point of ignorance, because the confidence cannot really be faked. How people treat you in environments, how people treat you towards your own life, that determines your confidence in your own life, just overall. So, what realistically can he do? And I started questioning myself, is there a saving to him? Because I understand that there may be people who believe that it's over. For example, you're like 30 years old and life wasn't very good, and there's not realistically that you can do anything anymore. So I kinda understand that position. But I also understand that there's like this loser mindset where you just pretty much accept your life situation as it is and you settle down, which I do not subscribe to that whatsoever. Going a little bit off topic, but it's still related to this video and the point of confidence. One day on the coffee, when I had a coffee with a friend, and because we're kind of autistic in that sense, we started talking about the blue pill, black pills and red pills, just basically overall internet autistic lingo. And we started questioning each other. What percentage are we, let's say, in this blue pill, red pill, black pill era? And he said that he's like, let's say, 20% black pilled and 80% red pilled. Because overall, when he sees the average black piller, he just imagines a loser sitting in his own room playing video games all day. So of course I would understand why he believes that he's 20% black pilled, because black pill inherently isn't a bad thing. It's just a pill. It's just the absolute truth. For example, when people say that your life situation, your confidence is affected by, for example, your height, or your physique, or your face, or your environment, or your childhood events, these things aren't lies. These things are completely true. But there are people who are just coping in the sense of like, it's not true, you can just work on it, and all. Which is kind of a dilemma. I believe in both sides. I believe that it is drastically affected by your childhood, and that your overall life position is affected genetically. But I also believe that there are things that you can work on, and that you should be giving yourself some kind of hope. Not false hope, but just hope overall. He said that he's like 20% black pilled and 80% red pilled, because he believes much more that you can drastically change your life situations. And I pretty much said that I'm like 60% black pilled and 40% red pilled. I could be talking about the red pills and black pills and blue pills all over the course of this video, but this video will be very long. So to quickly explain the pills, the blue pill is basically just the pill where you believe that you believe just like in that Disney scene, or like what the Hollywood portrays. For example, like how the nerd can get the good chicks, and like the jock is the bad guy, like the Chad is the bad guy, and everything just depends on your confidence. The red pill talks about how it's not really true, and there are many things that you can improve in your own life. For example, like your own physique, looks maxing, and all of those artistic concepts that work for some people and do not work for other people. So therefore, at the end of the day, you will kind of end up at the black pill. Well, you pretty much figure out that there are some situations and things about your own life that you physically cannot change, and everything else that you do around that is basically coping. So, after quickly explaining that, I said that I'm 60% black pilled and 40% red pilled, because I do indeed believe that how people treat you and overall your life situation is determined by your own genetics. But also at the same time, I believe that there are things that you could change in life, that you should give yourself hope. Because I do not want to become this 100% black pilled person who just believes that everything and every single little part of your own life is determined by genetics. Because, of course, nature is cruel. If you're born genetically weaker than the average guy, of course that you will feel much less confident. So therefore, where am I going with this? I pretty much do not know. I'm just rambling about many topics that come up off my own head. To go back to this character that I was talking about, this Jake person, I was thinking about what realistically can he do. Life did not treat him very good. And because life did not treat him very good, he's not confident in his own self whatsoever. And I was starting to think about what realistically can he do to improve his own life situation. Like, what realistically can he do? I mean, he could start training, he could become a powerlifter, he could like lose weight. That could affect his confidence much more. He could start socializing with other people. But the problem is, when someone says to you that you should just try and socialize with other people, of course it gets harder the more age you have on your own life. Of course, when you're 10 years old, it's gonna be much more easier to socialize with other kids when you're like, for example, 25 years old. Because when you're a kid, you do not know anything about life, you do not know anything about psychology and how people interact. But when you're like 30 years old, many people already established their friend groups, and if you're just left alone with no friends, it's gonna be very harder, because people already made their own friend groups, and people are much way less social when they were like kids. They're way less social right now when they are 30 years old, when for example when they were back then, when they were like kids, when they were like 10 years old. So when someone tells him to just socialize with other people, he could try that. It's not going very well. But there's also this concept of, for example, when you, for example, try and to socialize with other people, and if every single of your social interactions went badly, of course you're gonna carry that burden on your own chest and in your own mind, because every time you try to socialize with other people, you will remember the past times when you tried to socialize and basically it wasn't very good. So you're gonna be carrying that burden on your chest for the rest of your life. That's the unfortunate truth. So once again, when you, for example, tried to make friends and people made fun of you. The worst thing that people say to you is to just try to make friends once again, because back then you did not make friends. Was it because of your physical looks? Was it because of how you're talking to people? When you try to do the same thing without thinking about your own life situation, you're gonna once again end up in a bad situation. So therefore, what realistically can he do, except from just like training? Because I believe that training can boost your confidence much more. And I basically came to the conclusion that I do not know what to tell him, because I want him to like improve in life. I want him to like have a better situation in his own life, because I see that he's suffering on a daily basis because he does not know how to talk to people whatsoever, and he's not physically attractive, and he's not possessing all these capabilities, and I don't know what he can do. I can come here from the point of ignorance to just tell him like, you could be doing this, you can be doing that, but will that really work for him? So therefore, if he cannot help himself, I cannot help him whatsoever, once again. So that kind of left a bad taste in my own mouth, because who is really in the wrong here? Is he in the wrong because he has a loser mindset, because he knows that he cannot really improve his own situation? Or do I have a bad mindset because I believe in him? Because I see his own life situation, I see that he's struggling on a daily basis, so I don't know what realistically can he do. So yeah, I do not know where I'm going with this. I mean, I can talk from my own position in my own life. I started feeling very unconfident in my own self, and I had weeks when I was confident, I had weeks when I was not confident whatsoever. But the thing that boosts my confidence in my own life is training. I started training weightlifting 4 years ago, and I started training kickboxing 1 year ago. So my physical capabilities as a person, as a man, are, and my overall confidence is improving inside training. Reading books, being much more knowledgeable, pursuing my dreams, all of that boosts my own confidence. I want other people to recreate that and mimic that, just training and following their own dreams. But I know that it's harder for other people. But I also don't want to be that guy who's just gonna be saying that you cannot do anything in your own life situation, because realistically you could be doing many things. The biggest problem is that you create that life situation, that worldview, when realistically you cannot do anything, but in reality you could be doing many things that could be boosting your own confidence. I'm sorry if this video is going all over the place, because I'm just trying to juggle many topics in my own head right now. I'm trying to juggle these black pills and these red pills all over this place, because I personally do not know what's the best advice for you, because I also do not know what's the best advice for myself. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to show that to other people. If that works for them, that's good. If that doesn't work for them, they should try and seek other solutions. And because I was in this black pill space for a very long time, I kinda understand both situations. So yeah, it just leaves a bad taste in my own mouth, because I'm left speechless. Because if I try and give advice to people to just improve their own life situations, and they hit me with the I do not know their life situations, I have not experienced what they experienced, I'm left with a bad taste in my own mouth, because I'm here trying to help them, and they're here shutting me down because they cannot help themselves. And once again, if I try to subscribe to their own psychology and say that there are things that you cannot solve in life, the other side of people are attacking me, because how can I be so nihilistic, how can I be so pessimistic, how can I subscribe to this loser mindset, because I'm pulling people down. It's essentially just crabs in a crab bucket, where a crab is trying to escape the bucket and the other crabs are pulling him down. So yeah, I'm just trying to juggle all of these mindsets and all of these ideas in my own head. I don't know if the outcome of this video was pessimistic or nihilistic, because I was just juggling many topics and I did not end up at the same conclusion. But to end this video, let me end on a positive note. I was black pilled for a very long time. In a sense of like, I was consuming the black pill. All of these so-called truths that I was consuming, it left me with a very bad taste in my own life. And because I was constantly watching black pill content, I started to lose hope in life. I started to ask myself, was it worth it? Was it all worth it that I'm training, I'm improving my life situation? Was it all worth it? Because at the end of the day, I wasn't getting the achievements and I wasn't getting the awards and the outcomes that all of these people online were saying. Like, to be much more confident, you should be training, you should be doing this. But once again, I'm not feeling the confidence that they're portraying. And on the good notes, I definitely feel the effects. I definitely feel much more confident when I'm pursuing these things. And of course, I'm gonna feel less confident in the days where I, for example, had a bad week, where, for example, training wasn't good, my diet wasn't good, my sleep wasn't good. So even though it comes to genetics, it also comes to biology. Because many times when you feel nihilistic, it's probably a biological thing. You did not sleep good, your diet was probably trash, your training, you did not train good enough, your trainings wasn't good enough, you probably did not get good enough sunlight, you did not drink enough water. So overall your mood, and because we perceive our emotions as reality, because you can also agree that when you feel depressed, the world becomes bleak, and when you're feeling happy, the world becomes happy, the world becomes much more bright. Do not expect huge results and outcomes, because you were probably sold false hope. It's okay to be hopeful, but please understand the strings that are pulling on you. When, for example, someone is trying to sell you false hope, for example, like you can become a millionaire by just training and waking up very early, that's kind of stupid, because all these millionaires did not become millionaires by waking up early and just training. So do not subscribe to these false hopes. Sure, pursue the things that you love, pursue the things that boost your own physical capabilities as a man, because that will at the end of the day give you confidence. Also with age, with social interactions, try to improve our life situations bit by bit. Do not fully subscribe to just watching all these black pill contents every single day at every single hour, because you will kinda end up like them. And when I ask myself this, it's kinda corny, but you do not take life advice from losers. You take life advice from lions, because if you listen to people long enough, you will slowly subscribe to their own ideas and ideologies. So at the end of the day, start to ask yourself, is this the person that I want to recreate his own life? Is this the correct person for me, in the sense of, do I want to mimic his own life? If your answer is no, if you do not want to live like these people, do not listen to their advices. Yeah, sure, listen to them in the sense of like understanding their own life situations, but do not listen to them blindly. Do not listen to anything blindly in your own life. Ask everything. Just keep questioning. Is this a good thing for me? Is this a bad thing for me? Is his own worldviews good for me? And fight it in your own head. Reject false ideas of hope, but also reject the ideas that life is hopeless. Because if you subscribe to the bleak idea of the world, your bleak mindset and just bleak philosophy overall, the world will turn bleak. So yeah. Thanks for watching this first episode of Cigarillos Talk. I do not know what I was talking about pretty much. I was just going off in my own head. I tried to present myself in an intellectual manner. It wasn't going very good. I'm not feeling very good in this first episode. It'll get better over time. I believe in that. The more I just talk, the more I just prepare topics. So yeah, I'm gonna be uploading it. It'll be whatever it is. So yeah. Thank you for watching, man. See you in the next video.